Hello, I'm JIGSAW and welcome back to the Minecraft update videos. They have some pretty interesting news to share with you all, and it does relate to Minecraft Java Edition, which has a brand new beta or snapshot update available. So this one is called 18W46A because it's the first snapshot in the 46th week of 2018, and the interesting thing about this snapshot is it teases us a bit more regarding the big mystery blocks. So the brand new crafting, table, variants, the one for maps, the one for fletching, the one for tools, and the stonecutter have all had updated textures this week, but no updated functionality. So yeah, the mystery does keep going on. The fact that they updated these blocks and are still working behind the scenes on them is super curious to me, and the fact that this one's even animated is a really interesting thing, but we don't know for sure they do yet. So in case you're here just solely for that, sad news on that front. But the interesting thing about this update is despite the fact that most of their time, no doubt, is working on these blocks, getting them functional, we've also seen this week add a bunch of new features to the already huge list of 1.14 features. So we've got the brand new secret JIGSAW Block, only accessible in creative through commands, but it's a brand new block you can get in this update. We've also got the lantern, which is a 2009 mentioned Minecraft feature. It exists in this update. You can now get it. It's kind of exciting. We've had an update to Scaffolding, a really positive one in my opinion, and a kind of negative update to the Pillager Patrols. So interesting things on all fronts there, as well as an update to last week's Xbox Insider show. I think I'd update you on what happened there because it is to do with super duper graphics, and yeah, just in general, lots of good news, and I guess a weekly snapshot / news roundup, which I hope you all do enjoy. You can like this video because it helps out the channel and lets know you do like these weekly in-depth dives into the news and into the latest things happening in Minecraft. So I guess we have to start with one big thing, and that has to be the brand new textures on these blocks right here. As you can see, the previous crafting tables, because again, right now we know they're crafting. This is clearly a fletching table. This is clearly a map-making table. But these things from last week have been updated. I think the fletching table is kind of subtle. I mean, it's obviously better and it's different, but it's kind of a subtle one. I like the change personally. I think it's overall good. But I really like the change to the map-making table. Jasper said the reason he changed it is because the old one looked too much like a cake, and I couldn't unsee the cake, whereas right now, you can see we've got like a globe there. I like my globes, my maps, as you can probably imagine. We've also got, like a little compass on the table. We've got a little piece of map over here with a treasure thing going on there. It's good in general. It's a solid looking block, and although we don't know the recipes for them yet, the fact that they updated the textures is kind of just teasing us some more. So this one also has a brand new block texture, and the stonecutters one is most interesting because as well as a brand new texture, we also have a animated texture. So there aren't many of these on the Java Edition in particular, so seeing the stonecutter be animated, I mean, it's like a 2-frame animation, right? But going back and forth makes it look like it's a spinning blade. I think it's clever personally, using 2 frames to achieve something like this. But yeah, basically it's a very simple animation that does make it look like there's a real soaring blade, which right now doesn't do anything to you. Maybe in future it will, because I don't know, it just seems like to me that this should harm you in some way. Next up, we've got the jigsaw block, which you're going to have to come back to later because it's a whole creative thing. So the other brand new block, which we have an update on, is the lantern. So the lantern was revealed last week. We saw it. It always had the chain above it. However, this week they have changed things, and as you can see, the lantern can be placed without a chain above it. So how would you get one of these lanterns if you want one of these delightful blocks, either to put on top of something or to put underneath something? Well, the recipe I really like. I think it fits into Minecraft well, and also is pretty accessible while also being rewarding, because all you need to do is you need to grab yourself a torch and then put some iron nuggets around it in every single block. So yeah, eight iron nuggets surrounded by a lantern. If you're curious, an iron nugget is made from, an iron nugget is made from 1/9 of a iron bar, which means that just like this, you can make an iron bar. Oh, sorry, it's called an iron ingot, right? And an iron ingot can make 9 iron nuggets. So 1 iron bar makes just over 1 a lantern, which is a pretty successful result in my opinion. I think paying 1 iron makes it worthwhile in situations where you need a bit more light, and it makes them more of a rewarding block than the torch which you craft en masse just to like light up caves. So yeah, the lantern is more of a permanent fixture with a bit more of a cost, but I think it's worth it in the end. So yeah, now lantern, let's talk about what you can do with it. It can only be placed in one of 2 ways. It can be placed underneath a block, or it can be placed on top of the block. If the block above it or the block below it is removed, such as right now, the lantern falls off as well. The lantern cannot be suspended in midair because it's not a block, it's more of a item that can be placed. So keep that in mind when you use this thing. And in case you're curious as like, in case you're curious as like, how can you effectively use this? Immediately I'm like, okay, well, I mean, the brand new walls also coming in the 1.14 update are obviously going to be the good match for this. So expect to see some stuff using walls, etc. Again, this is just my first little attempt at like, okay, so clearly have some walls, have it hang off the walls, makes a lot of sense, or put it on top of the wall to make kind of like a lamppost feel. Again, I think it fits really well in both cases. Expect to see a lot of that. But you might be curious, what is the use of the lantern over the torch? So if the torch and if the lantern are so similar, except one takes an iron bar, what's the point in having this? And to answer that question, let's set the time to night, shall we? So At nighttime, I've turned light down to super unsmooth, so this isn't how Minecraft usually looks. It's just to give you a good show of the fact that the lantern has the max. Oh, there is a phantom around here apparently. The lantern has the maximum light level in Minecraft. It has 15, which is the highest we've seen of any actual obtainable survival block, whereas the torch has 1 below that. So basically, the lantern can light up 1 more space, 1 more effectively. So the block next to the lantern is lit up 1 little fraction better than the one next to the torch, and it's not great to see it here. You can't see it amazingly, but it means that, you can see going this way, it's a different distance than going that way. It might not seem it, but let's use creative to show you a pretty good example. Here's the distance the torch can go to, so let's remove this lantern, just so you can see this truly fair. Look at the distance it goes over here. This is the last lit block, just over here, right? So we'll place blocks either side of it just to prove the point. Whereas if we remove this and we place a lantern instead, you can see it's very, very subtle, but now it goes an extra block, it goes over to here. 1 further block because it's 1 light level higher. Realistically speaking, it won't make a huge difference. You'll never spend the iron because you want to light up your caves a tiny bit more efficiently, or maybe you will if you've got iron nuggets and you're just rich in Minecraft iron like that, but it's more realistically a nicer block you can place in all the different ways that I've already shown off. Again, look at nighttime, look how, kind of much nicer that looks than just having a torch on a wall or something. It's another useful, beautiful decoration that does also provide more light to make it technically better while also being mostly about the aesthetics. I like it personally. I think it's a good block. I like that it's easy to craft, and it's a good positive change in general, unlike the phantom that's chilling above there. So let's set the time to day real quick, and let's show you another change in this update, because they've also changed the scaffolding. Scaffolding in this update has changed. Instead of being mostly so right now, if you want to place scaffolding, you can place it directly from the ground, or you can place sideways from an existing scaffolding block. However, when you do that, you can only place 4 blocks in any given direction. At least that's how it was until last week. So yeah, this is the central scaffolding. As you can see, you go up and down it, and it's 4 blocks from there in any direction. Taxi cab distance, so 1, 2, 3, 4, that's the edge. Previously, if we place the scaffolding here, it would fall off, but now you can do 6 blocks in any direction. So basically, scaffolding got a 50% buff to make things simple, which is good. That's a generally good change, nothing really to hate about that. It's worth noting you can also now fall off scaffolding if you're not careful, like you can fall through the blocks in the sky. It's happened to me before, I'm not sure if that's a glitch, I hope so, but just keep in mind that that's a thing. And yeah, now you can use scaffolding to do much more useful things if you really want to. And by the way, it's worth noting, this is just one of the crazy uses of scaffolding. If you want to use scaffold, like let's say you're just on a block, let's say we're on this tree, we want to get down from the tree. One of the uses that I've started to realize, I saw this on the MC Reddit, I've got to mention, but one of the amazing things you can use scaffolding for is you can kind of just like place it on the side of said block, and you can, oh, this is a terrible example, but you can place it on the side of said block, and then you can kind of just stack your way down from there. So as long as there's nothing already on that, you should be good. Oh, we've got to use a proper block, it seems. So we place a dirt block just over here. We're walking, we realize we're out of that. We don't want to go back down. Okay, place your scaffolding. And okay, so now what you can do is at the edge of the block, you can start placing scaffolding down, and you can spam it down and effectively make yourself a ladder to get yourself down. Again, it's a really effective tip, in my opinion, and it makes yourself a little ladder that you can just climb down just like that. So yeah, this works in any situation where previously you'd have to make ladders or staircases or, things you wouldn't be able to do. This opens up a whole new world of possibilities that scaffolding might be one of the most useful survival exploring items, which I think is wonderful personally. Maybe you disagree, but that's my opinion. So let's move on there to talk about the next big feature in this update, because it is Pillager Patrols being changed. So this is what an Pillager Patrol now looks like as of the current snapshot. I expect we'll see even more changes, so don't expect this to stay set in stone. But you'll notice there is 5 Pillagers in the group now, and there's no Pillager Beast. This isn't because the Pillager Beast has become a less likely spawn, it's because the Pillager Beast is no longer part of the Pillager Patrol, which is weird because one of the key parts of this update is the Pillager Beast. But you'll no longer not find him in part of the patrols, which makes the patrols a lot easier to kill, and I guess makes them less intimidating towards villagers. I think it's an interesting change at the very slightest. Also, the AI has been updated very slightly, and also, again, there's 5 of them as opposed to 4 of them, because one of the beast has been replaced by an extra illager or pillager. So, really weird change, in my opinion. I think they're gonna change it back. I wouldn't expect this to stay permanent, so I won't focus on it too much, but I will say, having 5, pillager, illagers, whatever, together, as opposed to 4 in a beast, does almost defeats the point of this thing existing. It makes it less exciting and less worthwhile, in my opinion, but that's my opinion. Also, a key thing worth noting, I'll show you by killing this guy with his banner, is the fact that if you do kill one of their banners, they've now changed the illager banner. It previously used to be this effect right here, now it looks like this. They've changed it very slightly. You can see it's gone from being that to being that. It's just a bit different. It's and maybe you find that interesting, maybe you don't, but I think it's a hugely interesting change that they decided, you know, let's update the banner after a week. And also the fact that you can make this banner in the current update if you want to be ready for 1.14 and pretend you've killed these. Although again, these will come in yellow when you get them from the villagers, just to prove they're legit as opposed to not. So if you, I mean, obviously in survival only, if you're willing to cheat or use creative, you can make your own yellow names as much as you like. But yeah, Pillager Patrols have been made a lot less useful in this update, I would say, and I can't quite say, I think it's going to change in some way back or differently or have more uses or more different things, because right now it's just a bunch of mobs that spawn together, which is interesting, but not as interesting as it was before. But let's go back and talk about the other changes. Because this update has two technical changes. One you'll love if you're really into, you know, playing around with Minecraft commands and playing around with like kind of modding the game, because now there is an option for directional opacity in Minecraft. This means you'll be able to modify blocks so that they're, you know, transparent on one side, not on the others. I can't wait to see people do that. I figure I should mention it, even though right now I haven't seen anything done with it yet, but I should mention, really exciting sounding. But the other one is kind of a downside if you play, okay, so Java is only available on PC. If you have a weak PC that has a, you know, much stronger GPU than a CPU, then there is some bad news in this update. Also, if your GPU doesn't support OpenGL 4.4, there's some bad news because the video settings previously was a nice balanced menu, you know? Balanced like all good things should be. Yeah, had to get my Thanos reference in. Have to do it every video apparently. But no, basically, you know, the options menu has gone from being balanced to having more options on one side than the other. And this is because they've removed an option. Previously, there used to be VBO. It was a form of rendering that you had the options turned off if you wanted to. Now it is turned on by default. There is no way to turn VBO off, which is a pretty interesting change in my opinion, because it means that some people are not going to be able to play the game because they physically, their computers can't support VBO, and some people are going to have performance dips mandated on them. And the reason for this is just to keep Minecraft, you know, like it's to help optimize the rendering engine. And part of the reason they had to do this was to fix one of Minecraft's longest standing and recurring bugs, which I find interesting. So usually the bugs that are fixed in any given snapshot aren't hugely interesting. You know, like in this case, they fixed, you know, scaffolding, and that's nice. Like one of the bugs I even saw in last week's video where I couldn't fall down it. They fixed that. They fixed a few different things, and it's always nice to hear. But the thing I find interesting is when you scroll through these bugs, they usually have numbers like, oh, 99,863 or 134,000, 137,000, because every single bug report gets a brand new number, and over Minecraft's 6 or 7 years it's been using the bug tracker, it's had over 100,000 bug reports. Admittedly, even when there's duplicates or even when people delete them or when they get solved, they still take up a number, but there's been 138,000 bug reports, so every number looks like that, except when you look at one of the bugs that's been fixed this week, they fixed bug number 92. The 92nd bug to be reported has been fixed because snap and stairs lighting is incorrect. So this was a bug from Minecraft 1.4 originally, so kind of fitting, they fit it in Minecraft 1.14. It came back in the last week's snapshots, and they just, oh, like for quite a few weeks actually, and they decided to finally fix it, so now that slabs and stair lighting should work entirely fine. So I find that crazy cool that, like, you know, like in the bug fixing section, they managed to fix a bug from all those years ago. It's a 6 and 7 years old bug now. It's pretty wild, pretty crazy, but it's a thing that happened this week, and I think that I like trivias, I like fun facts, and maybe you do too. And in case you don't, maybe we should move on to the final feature that we'll be covering in today's video, because, you know, before we move on to the SGPT thing, Super Duper Graphics Pack, SDGPP, but let's talk about the Jigsaw Block, which is way more important. So this is a secret feature. It wasn't mentioned anywhere on the changelog. There's very little information about this anywhere out there right now. But the Jigsaw Block is a brand new block which you can give yourself by doing give and then your gamer tag, or you can just be like @self. You can give yourself a Jigsaw Block. So this is a really weird one because, again, it's called a Jigsaw Block, but it looks a lot like pink terracotta, which if you've not seen pink terracotta, or glazed terracotta I should say. Oh, it's purple glazed terracotta. It's magnetic glazed terracotta. If you've never seen magnetic glazed terracotta, it is suspicious how much these blocks have in common with each other, right? Like, oh yeah, they're both arrows and they've got a background of a different color. But no, this is not a decorational block. You might see it in some decorations on some servers and stuff, but it's mostly going to be intended as a brand new functional block. So it's worth noting right now, there's no GUI if you're in survival. Let me just quickly prove that one right here. So we go into survival right now. You can't actually do anything with these blocks. They're just in survival, these are just blocks you can look at, and that's kind of that. You can place levers on the side if you want to, but they don't have any function in survival. And in creative, there is clearly some amount of functionality there. I'll admit, I haven't been able to work anything magic with them. There's 3 separate options: target, pull, attachment type, and turns into. So the best understanding that I have from this yet is that the idea is it's going to allow you to make kind of substructures. So right now we have commands, we have structure blocks. You can make some complex things. Jigsaw blocks should allow you to direct the flow of these, commands. Again, it's slightly beyond my understanding of redstone commands, etc. So I just want to clarify, I don't know if these things can do anything great yet. I think they're going to be worked over the next few snapshots, and they're going to have some great uses. But the idea is, like, if you're into map development, if you're into the complex things that come with the structure block, for instance, this is good news. And also, if you're not, they're kind of just interesting looking blocks, because they have 6 different sides that allow you to point arrows in every direction. Just to show you with a debug stick, it looks like this when we do it. As you can see, 6 different sides, kind of a nice looking block. But yeah, we don't know for sure like what the true potential of this block is yet. I have to imagine, again, the idea, the potential of having substructures could be a great idea. But, it's hard to say, is this an amazing block? Because we don't know for sure. We can't see the full of its potential until that comes out, which is what I love about seeing the Minecraft community and seeing people work with blocks like this and getting the most of them. And that's something that when we do know the most of it, and we do see the most of it, I'll totally be sharing here and, seeing who actually has found that so far, because I find that interesting, and maybe you do as well. But for now, the Jigsaw block is a cool looking block that has a lot of potential uses that we'll start to see come out over future snapshots. But for now, before we finish, I want to kind of talk about the fact that, yeah, we have another week without a proper explanation on these blocks. I've done all the checking to see, like, okay, so is there anything new? Is there new crafting recipes? Is there new anything like this? No, they just added new textures. There's no secrets, even in spectator mode. All of the previous secrets have remained in the game, so you can still, to this day, activate a blast furnace or a smoker using hoppers. Or, of course, you can just activate them by looking in Spectator. You can see the inventory, which is the same across all of them, by the way. Bit of a odd little thing to notice right there. But the barrel also has the exact same thing, where it's like, yep, still nothing going on there. I just figured I should mention that I'm really, really looking forward to seeing this. I feel like I'm being teased every week. Like, no, I need to know. It's not just I even want to know at this point. I need to know what's going on with these blocks. But we don't know just yet. Maybe next week, maybe after. Maybe they want to complete all of them before they complete any of them. But the fact that they have worked on the textures and they've made them better, in my opinion, does show some positive progress. And yeah, I like that they've changed the blocks. It also means, sadly, that your now dungeon traps are a bit more obvious, but they also look a lot more like traps. Like, there's real spinning wheels in there, so that's kind of cool, in my opinion. So, now let's talk about the other bit of news, because I like having these weekly in-depth dives, and a lot of you have been enjoying that. So that's been the Minecraft Java Edition news, but we did know there was a huge Minecraft event at the Xbox Insider Summit, which happened last Saturday. So you might have noticed that even though I spoke about it was the JavaScript Summit that happened a few days before, where they basically confirmed there's a new Minecraft menu. I spoke about that, but I didn't speak about what happened at that event. So what's the deal with that? Simple explanation is nothing really happened. They announced the holiday update again, like, did you know cats and pandas coming to Minecraft? There was a really cute trailer, but it wasn't new information. And then, interestingly enough, they also replayed the super duper graphics pack trailer from way, way, way back when, as in we're talking, from last year, E3. So they replayed that trailer to kind of launch people into it. So it's been kind of said in a few different places that the reason they did this is because they wanted to get people hyped about something that is upcoming. It was the same footage, so it wasn't anything new. But the fact that they are reusing it at least means that they know it's coming. Like, you wouldn't re-show a trailer for something that's been cancelled, and because it's been like up for speculation, like, oh, was it a lie? Is it ever a real thing? It is a real thing, in my opinion. It is still coming at some point. It's just the amount of hype for it makes them realize that they're trying to do a better job. That's what they've said the whole time. And yeah, therefore, Super Duper Graphics Pack, it was shown. I think, personally, this means that, they're closer along with it. It's still something actively being worked on, and hopefully within, like a year or so, we should see the Super Duper Graphics Pack come out. But again, that's a whole, like, there are a lot of people who believe that, it can't be anywhere near completion. It was a whole lie. And I guess I understand, like, a lot of people have had a lot of, reasons for that. But it's just something I figured I should mention, that they did show Super Duper Graphics, and I think that means that someone had to run it by, the Bedrock team, and they'd be like, oh yeah, we're still working on that, it's coming, we haven't got new footage, but use the old stuff. Because if it wasn't new, it'd be the biggest mess up at an Xbox conference to use something that's been cancelled to promote a game that they're talking about. At least that's my take on things. I'd like to hear yours in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know what you think about the new animated texture. Again, I think it's really clever to use literally 2 frames to do this, and I think a lot of these other blocks look kind of nice too. I think the Pillager changes are going to be reworked, and I think the Jigsaw block might be a big source of potential, because I mean, just look at this thing. It looks so weird and out of place in Minecraft, and yeah, definitely not better. I should mention, not available in survival, won't ever be, as far as I can tell, unless something significant changes about it. Just keep that in mind, that this is a creative-only mystery. So yeah, with that said, thank you very much for watching today's video. I hope you did all enjoy it. You can like this video if you like it, because it helps out the channel. Let us know you are excited for 1.14.2. I've said it before, and you know what? I'll say it again. I am hyped for this update. It's one of the biggest updates we've ever seen. Look how many things we have already. There's just an endless sea of new features, and it's just getting longer every single week, and that is something to be hyped for, in my opinion. But yeah, if you are excited, I'd like a like on the video. If you want to see more of these, I every week cover all of the big news that we've kind of missed otherwise, like the little bits, as well as the snapshot. Then you can obviously subscribe with notifications turned on, and you'll see the video every single Wednesday, or in this case Thursday, when the snapshot or beta does come out. But anyway, with that said, hope you all enjoyed the video, because I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.